Welcome back, Benchwarmers. After 3 weeks of the NFL behind us, we decided it was time to give our very early power rankings.
Yeah, we went over the last few days and kind of came up with our top 5 teams so far.
There may not be a shocker on our list, but again, it's only been 3 games.
Yeah, that's true. We do have a long way to go, but honestly, it looks like the Cards are packing it up early. I'm Brendan, the Ghost Marv is seeing.
I'm Corey, 2025 Buccaneers fan, and this is Our View from the Bench.
Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Come on, smash it for us. It's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, I'm just going to go on a mini... we didn't talk about this, but since I had to say it at the beginning before we get into the power rankings, what the is the Cardinal offense doing? Cardinal defense? Looking great. Looking great. Cardinal offense. Kyler Murray's about 4 feet tall, standing behind 7 feet linemen, so he can't see anything. Marvin Harrison can't seem to learn how to catch anymore. He was the best wide receiver that anybody's ever seen in college in like 10-plus years. Now he doesn't know what route to run, and when your ball hits him in the hands, he's like, I don't even want it anymore. I don't even want it. Let me just drop it. What kind of tip is that? A tip to an interception. He also kind of led the interception because he decided to stop running a route.
Yeah.
We stalled the drive early because he ran a go route on a 3rd and 2 instead of an out route to completely would have been a nice completion for a first down. It's so frustrating, bro. Kyler Murray audibles at the line because he got this great idea on 3rd and 2 to run it because he doesn't see 8 in the box. Oh, yeah, we get a half a yard punt. Dude, I don't even know. Defense looks great. I have 0 complaints about there. Special teams looks great. Great kicking, great punting, like great coverage on punting. Just everything else except the offense, which is just super frustrating. And I get that Gannon is a defensive guy, but he's not even calling the defensive plays. He has somebody else being the DC, so he's just trying to focus on being the head coach. And I don't know. This offense is just really stagnant, and it's super frustrating. But that's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey, you know what? I was in your boat. Or I've probably been in your shoes a few times with the Titans over the years. There's some rough patches, but you guys are in. I wouldn't even call it a rough patch because it is, but it's not because Kyler's like the talent is there. It's just not all coming together as a team, and he
just needs to be like a foot
can't
taller.
see anybody, as you said.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I'm not even trying to knock him, but I just. It's just frustrating to watch. I literally couldn't even watch the second half, which is crazy because that's the better half that they played. I wish I would have not watched the first half and then watched the second.
Really, you could have just watched the last like half of the fourth quarter to see all the action.
Okay, well, see, I didn't. I went on a walk instead because I needed a cool off.
Yeah, probably a good idea too.
I hate when football gets me all flustered like that, but it's super fun to watch, and so. But that's why I'm glad. Actually, you know what? I'm glad the Cardinals got their game out of the way, so now I get to enjoy all of Sunday and Monday Night Football.
There you go. True. Can't lose them over the weekend if you're not playing.
Exactly. All right. Well, now let's jump into the power rankings. We're doing this like little mini power rankings. Again, it's quite early, but you can kind of see which teams are kind of pulling ahead besides the record. Now, this is a little bit record heavy, but I think that the teams that are at the top have good records because they are good, not necessarily because they've gotten lucky. And you might be surprised there is an undefeated team that we don't even mention. So,
yeah, true.
Which one? Stay tuned. All right. So we're going to go in reverse order. We're going to go 5 through 1. And let's kick it off. 5, 4, 3, 2. You go first.
All right. I'll start us out. All right. So 5, we discussed over the last couple of days, kind of went through and looked at the records and how they've played, kind of, the eye test as well, not just the stats.
And who.
And what's up?
And who they've played.
Yeah, exactly. Who they played, the caliber of their opponents, and how bad they won or lost or that kind of thing. So with number 5, now this team started off great with the first 2-0 start, and then they did lose last week, but we think that's just kind of a hiccup and almost like a scheduled loss in a sense, or overlooking an opponent for the next week. So we got the Packers at number 5.
Yeah, agree. I mean, you mentioned it. They beat the Lions in week 1, who have since basically destroyed every opponent that they've played. So maybe it's just a slow start for the Lions. How about that pick, huh? How about them Lions?
It's only it's only 3 weeks, so things could still go my way.
You're right. So they beat the Lions, who look good. They beat the Commanders, who looked good last year and kind of struggling a little bit to start this year, but not having McLaurin basically all of camp because he was holding out, and a couple injuries here and there. But the weird one was obviously them losing at Cleveland. They should honestly be 3-0 and would be higher up in our rankings, but losing to Cleveland, the thing that we kind of talked about, and you mentioned the word specifically, was pretty much a trap game. And I couldn't remember the word, but I brought it up because they were just looking ahead because who they play this week, Corey?
Yeah, Micah's going back to Dallas this weekend. So I thought about it too, because at first you were like, wow, they lost to Cleveland. I'm like, yeah, but they had 10 days. They played Washington on a
It's a lot of
Thursday.
overthinking.
But you're right. They had even more time to overthink it and think past them and go to the next opponent, which is what Micah, because it's not just Micah. That whole team wants to go play their best for Micah and show
Of
the Cowboys
course.
why they made a mistake
that
by
was a
giving
dumb
them the
idea.
win. Yeah. So I get that. But yeah, it's just off the bat, that
Sure.
loss is kind of, as you said, a trap game in a sense. So we kind of looked over that and decided, even though they lost that game on the road in Cleveland, they should have won. So we're going to start off with them at number 5.
If it was at home and they lost by like
Yeah,
20,
that'd be different.
maybe different. But
yeah, absolutely,
losing at the last second field goal against Myles Garrett's kind of crazy. So that team, you saw that clip this year where the lineman heard, bro, that was hilarious. He let him go and he's like, Jordan, run. That was crazy.
Is when Myles is on the sideline, he's telling the guy, dude, you hear that guy when I ran past him? He's telling Jordan, run, Jordan, run. That's awesome. I love it.
It was good. The other thing that kind of like fell into the trap mode was after a 2-0 start, for some reason, I don't remember if it was offense or defensive, but one of the linemen also decided that they were going for an undefeated season. After 2-0, that they're going for undefeated season. So there's just too many things kind of in their head, again, thinking that they were going to be, I think in their minds, they were starting 4-0 before their bye week. They have a bye week 5. They won the first 2. Browns and the Cowboys, that's basically another 2 wins, and it obviously didn't pan out. But because of that, I have a feeling that this might be a pretty big beatdown in Dallas this weekend, especially since CeeDee's out for the offense, which is basically the only good part of that Dallas team.
So far, it has been, unfortunately, for them.
All right. Moving on to number 4. This is an undefeated team. Actually, the rest of the way is undefeated teams.
Yes,
but this one had to be the last one that we have on the list just because of the opponents that they've beat. And I'm thinking that is the Buccaneers. Now, granted, winning is winning, and they've had an absurd, this is kind of the edge that I'm giving them. They've had an absurd amount of injuries. 3 starting offensive linemen are out. And there's 5, by the way. So over half of their offensive line has been out, if not after 1 week, or hasn't played at all this season. Godwin's not here. Evans is now hampered. Yeah. And so it's just been a little bit slow, and they can still manage to be 3-0 at this point. Now, granted, they beat the Falcons in week 1. They beat the Texans in week 2, barely. Beat the Falcons, barely. And this past week, they barely beat the Jets. But win's a win, right? And so with all these injuries and stuff like that, that's the reason why I was kind of going with them 4th.
If you think about it, Tampa having won all 3 games basically at the buzzer, like you said, it kind of reminds me, I know it's very early on, they're not the same caliber team, so but last year the Chiefs kept doing this. We kept thinking, they're not that good, but they kept winning games and blocking field goals and extra point, all these weird ways to get all these close victories. And then come playoff time, they were able to go on a run and get back to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that's what the Bucs are going to do, but
no,
as you and I have talked about multiple times, I like Baker Mayfield. And if you got Baker on your team and you're within a touchdown at the end and he's got the ball, he's going to give you a chance. Now, he may, Brett Favre a little bit sometimes and throw an interception when he's trying to do a little too much, but that's the game you play when you have Baker out there, because he's going to try anything and everything to try to get down that field and get a touchdown and win a game. So I like the Bucs. I think we have them there 4-0 as the 3-0 team at the bottom of the other 3 ahead of them that we have. But as a whole, as you mentioned, Godwin hasn't come back yet. Now Evans is out a little bit, understandable, offensive line. But as the season goes on, everyone's going to have some injuries. So it's not going to be they're the only one come week 5 or 6. They might be having the injury bug hit them early, but by the time we're at the end of the year, everyone's going to have a couple. So, but again, Baker don't quit, man. Baker is there to play, and he don't mess around. So they're going to play.
Yeah, I was giving them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that it could have been a reason to lose one of these games. You know what I mean? And they still figured out a way to kind of overcome all the injuries that they see or that they have and get the dubs. So
yeah, last week they had the blocked field goal. They were going to get they were going to get a field goal to just add to their lead. They got blocked and returned for a touchdown, so they were down. They got the ball back and they went down and scored a field goal at the buzzer to win anyway. So yeah,
that's right.
The Bucs do not quit. So good luck.
Figure out a way. Yep, exactly. All right, moving on to 3, Corey.
All right. So again, you mentioned undefeated from here on out. Now, one of these, this team at number 3 might not. Well, probably shouldn't be undefeated if we really think about it, but is 3-0.
Should
be
2
those games at home. But we do have the Buffalo Bills, and again, I don't think they should be They shouldn't be 3-0 because Derrick Henry fumbled that ball in week 1, and then the collapse in Buffalo happened for the Ravens. But it is what it is. They're 3-0. They've taken care of so far, teams in the division that are not very good, which is what they do. So again, Josh Allen's the MVP favorite at this moment. I know it's early, but he is the reigning MVP, so he is the favorite at this time. The Bills are 3-0, looking good, and the AFC is kind of looking like theirs to take at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. They're one of the top teams. The only team that's going to be competing to them is one of the teams that I think we have ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the game against Baltimore is the big one. Big comebacks are big. So it's super important. They could have quit on the game and just packed it in and said, you know what, we got outplayed this today, but they didn't. But I really don't think it would have happened if Derrick Henry could just hold on the ball, which he happens. I think he has a fumble in every game so far this season.
Yeah, which is
So
weird.
it's just not Derrick Henry like behavior. He
Not
really
that.
needs to get a hold of the ball. That's pretty much it because they. I wouldn't say that's why they lost last week, but it didn't help. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They almost came back and they scored like a late touchdown that meant nothing, but they really shouldn't have even been that far down because he just needs to hold on to the ball. So we're giving that a win's a win, but
Yep.
against the Jets and the Dolphins is not necessarily that big of a. I'm not that impressed.
Yeah.
It's again NFL football teams, so these are professionals, but that's why we have them at 3. Again, I do still think they're a little bit better than the Bucs
Yeah.
because they at least the games that they were supposed to win, they won pretty handily, but they're not too much better. Not too
Yeah.
much
And
better.
also, if you think about it in a weird domino effect, say they had lost that game in week 1 to Baltimore, like we thought they were going to.
Yeah.
Right now, they're 2-1. Baltimore's 2-1. Excuse me. Kansas City would be 1-2 going into this week playing Baltimore. But right now, Baltimore and Kansas City are both 1-2. Who's going to come out 1-3 this week after 4 weeks, which I don't think anybody would have guessed before the season started.
No. I mean, now granted, Kansas City's schedule has been daunting besides
Yeah, brutal.
the layup Giants game that they had. But to have the Eagles, to have the
Chargers in Brazil.
Chargers in Brazil, then the Eagles. They got a little easy one, but then back to difficult with the Ravens. So it's been pretty bad, but I'm hoping as a semi-Chiefs fan, just because, me, I like dynasties.
Yeah, of course.
I'm hoping that Patrick Mahomes is able to take care of this pretty lackluster Baltimore defense this weekend. And I am hoping that they move to 2-2. So
well, we will see. We will see. Somebody's got to be 2-2.
yeah, one of them. But speaking of that team that they lost to week 1, the Chargers is who we have at number 2. 3-0, looking fantastic.
Yep.
They beat their entire division. So not only are they 3-0 completely, but they are 3-0 in the division. Nobody else can claim that because obviously no one's done it.
Yep.
But I mean, like in the West, maybe
Yeah.
maybe other people have. But I don't even think everybody's played only their division opponents besides the Chargers.
Might be the only one so far.
So they beat them, and they beat them pretty handily. Like every game that they looked, okay, Raiders, you could give, I get it. People will be down on the Raiders, but they're a lot better team than people will give them credit for. But a lot of people were super high on the Broncos coming into this year. Oh, snuck in the playoffs and did good. And Sean Payton in his second year with Bo Nix. And I mean, it really wasn't that close. It was maybe close in score, but I was watching the game. The Chiefs game was not close in score, nor was it really close in the field. The Raiders game was obviously pretty lopsided, and honestly, the Broncos game was too. So they made all the wins look easy. Jim Harbaugh is making this team look great, like he just always does. Herbert's looking good. The running game, I think Najee Harris got hurt. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he might be out for the
ACL.
season. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, so
he's
he's
good.
out for the season, so that's not great. But he gives Omarion Hampton, this rookie, to kind of gives him a chance to kind of stand out. He's on my fantasy team, so hoping that that happens. But other than that, I just think they look solid all around. They don't really have too many weaknesses, and especially one of their biggest strengths is that head coach.
Yep. I could not agree more. The only thing I'm a little, we last week when we did our week 3 preview, we did our biggest guarantee of who we think was going to, lose. And I just thought for sure the Broncos were going to go in there and take the Chargers out because the Chargers are going to charge and, everyone's expecting
Upset
them
alert,
to be
that's
good.
what it
Oh,
was.
yeah, upset alert. Sorry. They were going to be so good. And everyone was talking about them. And I was like, this is where they screwed up. And then watching that game, started early, it was kind of a back and forth thing. And then the Broncos took that lead. And I went, yeah, see, this is when the Chargers screw it up. And then somehow Herbert and Harbaugh came through and they got through out of there with a win at the buzzer. And I just normally the way I know the Chargers, that's not something that they would have been able to do. So not only do I think Harbaugh's changed the culture, he might have maybe even, as he says, the worm has turned in LA.
It's good, man. I think it's awesome, and that's what you can take with the Chargers, because if it has like the Clipper effect where they look great all year and then you get to the playoffs and you're like, oh, okay, here it is again. Mm-hmm. Well, he's kind of changing those times, and it's looking good in LA. So we have the Chargers at 2.
You know what's crazy, real quick, before we go to number 1? It is possible at this moment we could have a Chargers-Rams all-LA Super Bowl. That would be amazing.
That would be kind of sick because both teams are pretty good. Hopefully health stays with it. I'd be down.
Hell yeah.
All right. So who you got as number 1?
Number
Or
one,
who
I
do we
think,
have as number
yeah,
one?
so I think we all know who's going to be number one if we haven't said him at this point. If you're paying attention to the NFL at all, it's the
Yeah.
defending champion, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 3-0 now. They haven't had pretty games necessarily, especially the one against the Rams. They did come back and have the 2 block field goals and all that stuff. So they've had to, kind of clawed a couple of them, but they've been very good, solid overall. AJ Brown finally kind of figured his stuff out this week. Devontae Smith has looked great. Barkley's not as good as last year, but it's also 3 games in. They just won the Super Bowl. So, a little bit of a hangover, and nobody's expecting to get 2,000 yards back.
2,000 is a
So
lot.
let's
Yeah.
just lower his expectations just a little bit.
It's a lot of
But
running.
overall, I mean, the Eagles are the Eagles. They're basically the same team from last year. So until something drastic changes on this roster, I think it's easy to call them the number 1 team.
Yeah, until somebody could knock them off, I don't see any reason why we have them down. Now, you might want to talk about strength of schedule or whatever, them playing the Cowboys week 1. That is the most hated division rival of probably most, if not any. I mean, I know maybe I'm not thinking of everything right now, but that's probably one of the biggest rivalries in football is Eagles-Cowboys. The Cowboys had all summer to prepare for that one game. And the Eagles, like you said, maybe a slight Super Bowl hangover. They got the banner that night, all that kind of stuff. And they still managed to pull out a win. Jalen Hurts looked great. Then they go to Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. Granted, one of them was a false start. Maybe they shouldn't have. Either way, a win's a win. And then obviously with this past week against what we think and what a lot of people think is a really tough Rams team, they made the comeback. Granted, maybe the Rams blew it. But if on the flip side of that, the Eagles made the comeback. And A.J. Brown, like you said, looked great. So, oof.
It's the Eagles are a complete team right now. I think their roster of 1 to 53 is the most complete and the best. So
Agreed.
Until the injuries come into play like they always do in the NFL, but next man up, the Eagles are the defending champs, as you mentioned. For a reason, they will be looked at as number 1 until they give us a reason not to.
And if that happens, who knows, bro? Maybe Howie Roseman makes a crazy trade midseason and does something insane like he always does. Like, I don't know, maybe picking up an A.J. Brown in the middle of the season or something like that.
It's very possible. I mean, look at the Texans.
Not that they don't need a receiver, but
no, I know. But Texans are 0-3. Maybe that's a team that might be selling here in a couple of weeks if it doesn't get better. And that's a team that has a couple nice pieces that have been in the playoffs the last couple
especially
of years.
On defense. Especially on defense.
So just there's a few teams that are off to rough starts that might have some nice pieces, but Philly could be one of those teams that tries to get something at the deadline for sure.
So that's the 5. However, we like football too much, so we're going to keep talking about it. We kind of wanted to give a little bit of an honorable mention to who we think is like 6th and 7th place, I guess, respectively. I was a little bit more leery on one of these teams, although they are undefeated. And no, it's not the Niners.
No.
I'm
and
sorry.
It's crazy, too, that I had to argue for this team when you think about who the team
and
is.
You hate them.
That's what I'm saying. And I was arguing for them. So
yeah, and I was arguing against them. And I was actually – and you know who I was arguing for? A division – wait. I was arguing for a division rival, and you were arguing for a division rival.
I don't know what's going on right now.
All right. So what we've got basically as a toss-up at honorable mention, but we were kind of torn between these two, so that's why we're sticking to both. We've got Colts-Rams. And obviously the Colts being 3-0. I'm really surprised, but they haven't looked – and they have looked good, but they haven't looked like super great, nor have they played great teams.
Correct.
They beat the Dolphins at home by 25 in week 1. They barely beat the Broncos at home by literally 1 point. And then they beat the Titans. So, again, no offense, my friend, but Dolphins and Titans, not that great. Broncos are also 1-2. So it's just more their opponents that really held them back. But how they've looked playing it and how Daniel Jones is like completely different person.
Hey. His name is Indiana Jones, sir.
Oh, yeah, right. That's my bad. We've retired Daniel and Danny Dimes, and we've moved on to Indiana Jones. But how he's looked and how the team has looked is kind of why we want them up there. I just couldn't put them in the top 5 because of the, I guess, strength of schedule. I know that's more of a college football term, but we're kind of applying it here. So, but what about the Rams?
I almost wanted to put the Colts at 5, but you made a good point about the Packers. I was looking at the 3-0, 2-1, but you made a good point about the Packers and the trap game, as we mentioned. So I'm good with the Colts here. I love the Rams here. I think that the Rams could even be in the top 5 even with the loss to Philly. I still think that if they don't have that collapse,
we have them as the best team in the league, so losing to the best team ain't that bad.
Exactly. And the collapse that doesn't normally happen under coach teams, which is very strange. So that alone makes me think, okay, the Rams are going to come back from this, and even though Indy's 3-0 coming into LA this weekend, the Rams are going to take care of business. They're going to bounce back. They are not going to let Philly last week, as Sean McVay said, let Philly beat them twice again this week as a hangover. So Rams are going to come in. They should be ready. And, because we have the Rams and Colts here tied and they're playing each other this week, I guess ultimately the winner of this week in our minds will be the number 5 team in the
could
NFL.
Vault up to 5, depending on how the top 5 does. If one of them loses pretty poorly, I mean, it could, maybe they'll, what they'll do? They'll solidify themselves as the only honorable mention.
There you go. That'll be the only honorable mention for us. But
Unless,
again,
one of the top 5 loses.
I was going to say our top 5 could be completely different come next week. Who knows?
Exactly. Okay, so last week we tried to pick some upsets, and both of us were, how do you say it? Very wrong. Yeah, very wrong.
Not only
so
did I pick the Titans to upset the Colts because it's a division, I figured it's our first win of the year. We got murdered.
Yeah, 21, literally a 3-touchdown loss.
Yeah.
And I chose I thought the Jake Browning and the Bengals were going to roll in and maybe sneak out a W. Yeah. No, he's not going to be that over 500 quarterback that he was last year. No, not last year. 2 years ago. He's just not. It's not it. I think they've got that film of 6 games on him, and so here they are, ready to kind of take him apart. So instead of that, what we're going to pick this week, and gosh, I hope I'm not freaking wrong with any of these. We're going to pick some guarantees, Charles Barkley style.
So nice. Guarantee.
Hell yeah.
All right. So I've been talking for a minute. Let's have you go first.
Okay.
Who is your guaranteed week 4 win?
All right. Now, this is even funnier to me, too, because last week I picked against the Colts and they murdered me. I'm talking the Colts trying to get in the top 5 this week. Now I'm going even against myself. Before the season started,
I just noticed that.
Before the season started, I was like, NFC North, I think the Lions are going to suck. They're going to be in 4th place out of 4. So far, they look good at 2-1. And now this week they're hosting the Browns and they're a 9.5-point favorite. And I'm picking the Lions to win. So I don't know what's happening with my preseason predictions compared to my in-season picks. I'm all over the place, but I got the Lions beating the Browns this weekend because I don't think the Browns are getting 2 NFC North division wins back to back.
I think the loss or the win of the Packers or the Packers loss kind of made the Lions be like, okay, how about we make sure we pay attention to this team because this could be somebody that is the leg up, right, on the Packers as them already having that. Now they're tied, right? They're both 2-1. So there's a nice way for them to take advantage of it. And they're 9.5-point favorites as of right now on FanDuel, I think. So let's hope you're right. That's a pretty big one.
Like I said, I don't know how I feel about the Lions, but right now I guarantee the Lions are beating the Browns.
All right, perfect. Well, let's see how right I can be. I am thinking this is going to be a bounce back game, and I'm taking the Packers at 6.5-point favorites, going to Dallas Sunday night. Micah returns to Dallas. CeeDee Lamb is out. Cowboys barely won one game. It took overtime against the Giants, who are now 0-3. And the Packers are so pissed about last week. It was a trap game, and I just think they're going to come out. They want to win this for Micah so bad. And I just have the Packers coming in. I'm surprised it's only 6.5. I'm guessing because it's on the road. That's my guess. But I'm taking the Packers, and I guarantee it.
Nice. Okay, if you think about it, it is essentially the same spread because since the Packers are on the road, the home team gets 3 points. So it's kind of a 9.5-point spread for you and me, just home and road.
We'll see. It's not as big, and these were kind of like, I guess, honorable mentions for that. The Bills play the Saints, so they're 15.5-point favorites, one of the largest spreads I've seen in professional football in a while. And then the Chargers play at the 0-3 Giants, so another 9.5-point spread because they were favored by 6.5. Those are the other two that I was thinking about.
Not only that, the 0-3 Giants starting a rookie quarterback Jackson Dart for this
against this defense. Good luck.
And Harbaugh's not going to let no rookie quarterback have fun. So good luck.
No, and Herbert on the other side is not going to let this guy has a first win against me. No.
No way. So should be a nice. Oh man, the Lions. These Lions don't make me look stupid again.
So those are our guarantees. Book it, bet them, do it, parlay that.
Don't come back to me if we lost, though, if you lose your bet.
Yeah, Corey said he'd sell you your losses, so don't worry about it. All right. Before we get out of here, let's give a little bit of another fantasy update. We'll start with you again. How did what is it called?
Survival?
No, Guillotine.
I made it again. Survived. I was 14 out of 16 this week, but I had only made 1.24 points more than last place. So I barely made it. Now, my big saving grace was 2 weeks ago. Obviously, we know that why can I not? Burrow got hurt, so I lost my quarterback. I picked up Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson in free agency because I don't know who else I'm going to get. But then last minute, Mariota was going to play instead of Daniels. I played Mariota and picked him up. And if I did not play Mariota instead of Rodgers, I would have lost by like 2 points. So thank you, Marcus Mariota. And then also, since the guy who got cut this week lost some guys, I went and took advantage. I went and got some pieces. So now I feel a little bit better. I got Matthew Stafford, a quarterback, a little more solid.
You got these people, or you have waivers on them?
No, I got them. I officially got them today. So I got Matthew Stafford, a quarterback now. Picked up Kamara off as a running back from the Saints. He's the only weapon they got behind the backfield, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked up a Colt wide receiver, Alec Pierce. I needed some more weapons. So I am projected to be 12 out of 15 this week, but
okay. Hey, all you got to do is stay alive, man. All you got to do is
Exactly.
stay alive.
As long as I just stay alive little by little, $2 a week, everybody puts in. I'm just looking for that grand prize at the end. So we'll see what
All right.
happens first go round of it. Now, I know your fantasy week 2 weeks ago did
I don't
not
wanna talk
go.
about
it. Okay, so we'll skip that one. How
No,
did
I'm just
week
kidding.
3 go?
Week 3 went fantastic for my opponent.
Oh, man. Not good.
Yeah,
Not good.
I got absolutely shellacked. I only had one person scoring double digits, and that was Dak with 12. Everybody else got less than 10, and
Yikes.
it was just a complete thrashing. It's on the board, but I hope we just flash it quickly because I don't even want to look at it. I literally only scored 55 points, and it's just not good. So, what I did though, again, moving on. You know, we're moving on. I'm 1-2, completely last place in my league. I'm the commissioner of. I'm the one who had this idea, and now I'm getting rocked. So there's that. Super fun. But I'm pretty heavy on wide receivers. In fact, I'm sitting wide receivers. That's the one thing I don't like is when you have maybe too many of a position. You don't know who you want to play that week. So you're looking at matchups and doing this, and I just pick wrong too many times. So I'm trying to like limit my choices and just go after people that I have. So somebody that I work with, Mike. Shout out to Mike. He has CeeDee Lamb. Well, he's already light on receiver. Behind CeeDee Lamb, his best receiver is Jalen Waddle, and it's not looking that great for that. So we're putting it actually, shoot. I hope I didn't mess him up for this.
Uh-oh.
Because Marvin Harrison played today, so he won't be able to play him.
Oh.
Anyways, that kind of gives away who I'm trading. I'm letting go of Marvin Harrison and DJ Moore. Granted, I just ran on Marvin Harrison, but it's only week 3. If he can turn it around, he still is the best receiver besides maybe Trey McBride in Arizona. And DJ Moore, once Caleb starts getting a little bit more familiar with his offense, I think it's going to start really popping. I know you had him pretty high up there in the standings, so I do think they're going to be a little bit better than what they've looked like. They did make Dallas look pretty foolish. Even that flea flicker was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But that flea flicker is the kind of play that should go to DJ Moore. So it's those types of plays that are really more of those big plays for DJ Moore. So I'm dropping DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. Well, not dropping, but I'm trading. And I'm picking up because I need a little bit more running back help. I basically have Josh Jacobs and Omarion Hampton. That's kind of it. Yeah. And then from there, I'm just like kind of picking and choosing on who else I can grab. I'm grabbing Alvin Kamara, so that's kind of a fun pickup that we're both grabbing Alvin Kamara and Jalen Waddle, which is that the receiver that he said he is willing to part with. And again, CeeDee's only going to be out for 2 weeks, so it's not too big of a deal for him. But in order to get a little bit more, bye weeks are going to start coming up. You got to have a little bit more starting caliber number 1 or number 2 wide receivers on the roster, and I need a couple more, or at least one more. Running back. So that's what I'm going for.
You're going for what they like to say is roster flexibility. You're looking for
exactly.
People that can play multiple, but not too many options of the same position.
Exactly. I'm mostly doing it for Kamara, to be honest with you. I mean, Waddle isn't like a bad throw-in, but I've got Neighbors, Ted McMillan, Egbuka, and T. Higgins still.
Jeez.
Once Burrow maybe gets back, maybe that will pop off a little bit. If not, I might, just dump him for something because I don't know. But I got 3 already, and you only play 2 with a flex, so I'm doing okay in that. I just wanted to kind of pick up another one. But that's my fantasy. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Let's move on. I do want to talk about the survivor pool because we talked about it on the show last week. I said I was going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. And you said, you know what? I've heard you're not supposed to pick division matchups. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, Corey? I think I'm going to listen to you this time. And thank God I did because they got routed 30-0.
Yeah,
I switched it.
We talked about getting murdered earlier. No, you got murdered the Falcons. I mean, come on. They just
100%
took over that game. I was
They even took Penix out.
I know. And I put Penix in one of my parlay of my 8-leg parlay to do 225 more yards. He didn't get 120 and they took him out. I think I hit 2 of the 8 parlay. Like,
ouch.
It's bad altogether.
Rough. Weekend. That's okay. But what I did change it to is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who pulled off a win against the Jets. So I am still in the survivor pool. This week, I am who am I going with? Hold on. I forgot. We forgot to include that.
You don't even know who
I'll look at it quick. I did pick it already, but I just forgot who it was.
Just don't say it's in the division opponent. We're going to have that same conversation.
No, I think I made sure to not pick a division opponent. It's loading pretty slow. Okay. I chose the Broncos hosting the Bengals Monday night.
Oh, okay.
So Broncos need a comeback. A lot of people had them better. Obviously, Jake Browning and the backup quarterback Monday night on the road in Denver, Mile High, et cetera, et cetera. Non-division game, which I made sure to kind of look at. So I'm going Broncos this week, and I think I'm locking that one in. Unless you have something to say that I should think of.
No, I'm thinking about the matchup. I kind of actually like that one. That's a good pick. And as in the Survivor, you can't think about saving down the line. You just got to worry about this weekend. If that's the best matchup you think you feel more comfortable, and again, not division opponent matchup, then I got no issues with picking Denver there.
I'm trying to save a little bit, a little. I'm trying not to pick Eagles yet, Buffalo. Yeah.
But beyond that, you don't want to save too much or think too far down the line. But I like your pick here. I think Sean Payton having an extra day with it being Monday night. I think the Bengals with the backup quarterback with Browning, and the Broncos know, Chargers are 3-0. Chiefs are coming. If they win on Sunday, they're 2-2. Like, we got to get our shit together if we're gonna have a chance in this division. So I feel comfortable and like that choice.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up our week 3 / into week 4 little wrap up here. Let us know in the comments below who you've got in your top 5 power rankings.
And hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok at RVUFTB to tell us who you got guaranteed to win in week 4.
That's right. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you as always for seeing things from RV from the bench. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore 4th Studios production.